These are karmas, and in this video I want to learn how to use them and see how dangerous they are. But before we start, we need to use the safe one before we use the dangerous one, and I'm also going to teach you a little bit about what karmas are. Alright, let's get into it. So to start with, we're going to be using this safe one. You may be wondering why there are these 3 holes. Well, it's to show that this blade isn't sharp. It's used for having fun, while this dangerous one has no holes and it has a sharp blade. How sharp this blade is, I have no idea, and we're going to test that out later on a number of different targets. But before that, we're going to learn 4 basic skills. Number 1, the forward spin. Now, looking at this, I've realized I've actually done it backwards, so it's actually going to be a backward spin. It was meant to be a forward spin, but anyway. To start this one, I'm going to use a stick. It's just a little bit easier to use, and you get a bigger grasp of what you're doing. After practicing rolling the stick backwards, it was time to move onto the karma. Now, the karma was a little bit of a problem because it was a bit thicker, and it also had this one really strange edge that had been cut off. I'm not quite sure why, but it does. Anyway, I kept practicing and practicing and practicing. You see, karmas have a few different uses. They're used in traditional martial arts as a bit of a competition to show your different skills. This skill is as basic as they come. It's just a beginner one, just to get your hands used to the karma. Now, this backward spin, or I guess forward spin, can be used on many things. I practiced on a sword, and I also practiced on a duster. Number 2, the grip reversal. This trick is where we reverse the grip of the karma so we can use it in kind of like a backhand kind of way. To do this one, we're going to do our normal backwards roll, but we're going to stop halfway through and flick it over our finger, and then catch it again. It's pretty simple, this one, and it didn't take me too long to get. Just like when learning any new skill, repetition is key. So I practiced this one for a long time. Although I got it pretty fast, I still wanted to master it, so I kept practicing and practicing till I got to a nice speed. And I was very happy with my final results. And it was time to move on to number 3 and 4. I'm going to do these ones together because they're quite similar. Number 3, we're chucking it under our leg and catching it, while number 4, we chuck it behind our back and catch it. This one's a lot harder, requires quite a lot of hand-eye coordination, and that right there is exactly why we're using a safe one. After practicing a little bit with the karma, I realized it'd be better to practice with the stick just in case I drop it so it doesn't bend the metal. After practicing throwing the stick up in the air for a little while, it was time to try throw it behind my back. I started doing it and it was quite tricky. At first I was catching with the same hand, but I realized it would make more sense to try and catch with my opposite hand. Unfortunately with this one, we can't practice it with anything. Now, time to move on to the karma. To do this one, we've laid out some pillows, so then if I accidentally drop the karma, I won't break it, just like I did just there. After practicing for a while, I got quite confident, and so I tried all the moves together. I chucked it behind my back, I caught it in the air again, did a grip reversal, backward spin, chucked it up one more time, and I was happy with how it was looking. After that performance, I thought I'd give it a go without the pillows as of safety. But as soon as I started doing that, all my confidence went away, and it was like I was relearning the trick. But eventually I started getting there, and slowly but surely, I had it. Now, there are many more tricks we can learn using a karma, but unfortunately for this video, I'm only going to do those 4 as I want to move on to the other part of the video, which is testing how strong they are. But before moving on, enjoy this little video of me putting all the moves together at the very end. Okay, wait, what are these? This is a karma. A karma is a traditional Japanese farming tool that's similar to a sickle. It's used for reaping crops, and it was also employed as a weapon. In the traditional Okinawa martial arts, karmas were mostly used for self-defense purposes. Being a farm tool, you could also hide in plain sight with these. Now, karmas were often used with other karmas, other martial art weapons, such as sais, that's what Raphael the Ninja Turtle uses, swords or knives, and you could also use it with any other martial arts weapons. That includes nunchucks. Not very practical and probably horrible to use, but you could. Alright, time to move on and see how dangerous these are. Alright, time to switch over to the dangerous one now. After picking up my sharp one, it was time to figure out how to use it. Now, I know how to use it, but what are we going to use it on is the real question. I'm going to be using a pool noodle. This is going to be acting as a tatami mat. That's what people practice katanas on. We're also going to be using an apple because I love Fruit Ninja. Alright, I set up the pool noodle and it was time to take my first swing. And it kind of just stuck in. I wasn't expecting that, but I realized it was actually the way I set up the pool noodle. So I had to fix that. After resetting it up, I tried again, not hitting at 100% just to make sure it wouldn't knock over, and it almost cut all the way through. Now I knew it was time to hit 100%, and went all the way through. It was very smooth and very satisfying. And and on my last hit, it got stuck in the karma. Alright, time to move on to Fruit Ninja. But before we can get into smashing fruit, I want to show you how sharp this is. Now I was being very careful here not to cut myself, but I'm trying to show you just how sharp this knife is. Well, I guess blade. Alright, time to start cutting. I didn't know how to start cutting, so I just chucked it up in the air and started slashing. Sometimes I missed, sometimes I hit it. It was a bit unclear to the camera when I did hit it, so here's a few slow-mos and a few other shots that went quite well. You can see it cut right through the fruit with no issues, which is no surprise because after all, it is just a piece of fruit. Alright, now I tried a few different ways of cutting the apple. I tried hanging it off a stick, but when I cut it, it kind of just swung. It did cut quite clear and clean, but I didn't like this method, so I stuck it on a stick. My first hit was bad, I accidentally hit the stick itself, and for my next one, it was perfect. I cut it straight through the middle, leaving a perfect slice. But unfortunately I ran out of apples and I ran out of time. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the year. And if you want to pick up karmas, I'd highly recommend it because they were a blast to learn how to use. Thank you for watching.